Welcome to another session of Teams in 20. This is a bit of a special edition. We are going to be talking today about adoption and change management for M365 Copilot, something we get asked a lot about. And today I'm just going to hopefully give you some top tips to get you started, to help you think about how you might want to deploy Copilot out to your colleagues. So let's get started. Lots to tell you. We see huge value in how change management really helps to simplify and provide successful transformation projects. We also see the challenges that come along when change management isn't applied very well. So we know that adoption change management is really key to successfully delivering most technologies, I suppose any technology. Now, Copilot is just another technology, and it just cannot be delivered in a way that you just drop it on the desktop and really hope that somebody's going to consume it. The power of Copilot really comes into play when you deliver it with adoption in mind and thinking about that end user experience. So today I'm just really going to cover some of the strategies that we promote with our customers based on what we've seen already with M365 Copilot rollouts. Change management isn't a new concept. I'm sure there are lots of people listening to this that are already really familiar with Copilot. I'm just hoping to refresh your memory a little bit and maybe give you some extra tips from what we've seen already. Now, a bit of a bold statement. Technology itself cannot transform the organization. What do we mean by that? Well, we all know that you can't just turn on features and applications and just hope that people will adopt it. Build it and they will come is not a strategy, because they won't come. They'll just go and buy something else. So you've got to really think about that change management, and actually remember it's the people that make that change. People make an individual choice to change their habits, and sometimes they need a little bit of convincing. We all need a little bit of a push sometimes to go and try something new, because we lead such busy lives. Now, we're pretty lucky with Copilot because most people just can't wait to get started. So we've got some willing people to try and take that first leap. But we know that when people make that first decision to make the change, if that first experience is too difficult or seems to bit, it takes too much time, they can easily just decide to park that and not bother with that change. So sometimes they need a little bit of hand holding. And I think Copilot is initially one of those kind of tools that needs that extra hand holding. Now, so many times we see projects and programs focusing solely on the technical side of the solution and the technical side of that change. With Copilot, we see people asking about what the data needs to be. Is everything secure? Did we give everybody the right licenses? And not too much consideration for that people side of change, of people side of adoption. We know that not everybody changes at the same time. So, pushing out that change quickly and just hoping that everybody read that email with the training link in isn't going to work for everybody. Change doesn't miraculously just happen. It needs to be really considered when rolling out, especially rolling out Copilot, but any tech. Now, I'm a big fan of stats with change management. When an employee feels prepared, equipped, and supported, they're 6 times more likely to meet your project objectives, and you're 5 times more likely to stay on schedule. And then, important for everybody, twice as likely to stay on budget. So how do we do this? After using Copilot for a while now, I can tell you it does require a change of habit. It reminds me of when we first started to move our conversations from using 20-plus-year-old Outlook for email and starting to move those conversations to Teams. It was a real change of habit, and it required me to create quite a few new habits. Now, the biggest change for me has been the way I search now. I'm used to searching the internet using keywords, but now we're moving to more conversational language in Copilot. I think it's like asking a friend, but with some clear indication of what I'm looking for and why. So I'll give you a bit of an example. Previously, if I was, say I was writing a tourist blog on Buckingham Palace, and I wanted to know the history of Buckingham Palace, I might go into Bing and I'd put in Buckingham Palace history. Now, I wouldn't ask a friend that way. If I was asking a friend, I'd say, could you tell me about Buckingham Palace history, because I'm writing this great blog and I'm looking for 10 things that I can tell people that they probably don't know about. So that's how I'd ask my friends. So when I think about what I would ask Copilot, I would say something like, can you tell me the top 10 things about Buckingham Palace history for an informal tourism blog that I'm writing? I definitely put the sentiment in there. Do I want it to be funny? Do I want it to be serious? What am I kind of looking for? So I'm not putting in those keywords. I'm really explaining what it is that I'm trying to do. So instead of having to go through a lot of search links, now I'm getting what I need, and it might be 80% there, and then I've got to edit 20%. But that's great. So it's done most of the work for me. But it's not all about asking questions. Colleagues now need to know or need to understand they've got all this data at their fingertips. How can they use this to learn more, maybe brainstorm or even predict what questions they should be asking? So, for example, how could you use Copilot to help you build an adoption plan and predict the questions that some of the colleagues might ask you? There are a ton of things out there of examples of how you could use Copilot. I'd definitely go and have a look at some of the scenarios there to get you started, and also to help you share with colleagues. Now, if colleagues don't take the time and patience to master how to do things like prompts in Copilot, they might not get the outcomes they expect. And this is why change management is really important, because we can't just give them the tools and expect great results. They need to put some of the effort in. I always love these pictures at the bottom. Just because I've got a gym membership does not make me an athlete. Sometimes I have to put in that extra effort to get the results that I'm looking for. Now I'm going to show you some of the key levers to help successful adoption and return on investment in Copilot. So let me take you through some of these. Now, if you're using ACM in your organization, you're probably going to be familiar with these, but the first rule of change management is probably repetition. So hopefully this is a good refresher. And the first thing we're obviously going to kick off with is sponsorship. Having that active and visible sponsor from the leadership team, the face of the program, is going to be really important. Never think that you are over communicating. Tell people what Copilot is. Tell people when it's coming, tell people what the benefits are, tell people how to prepare. People will appreciate this. This is something that a lot of people will be excited to have. So, that usual fear of over communicating, I think sometimes you need to send the message multiple times in multiple ways. Champions. Do not underestimate the power of a really good champions network. They are your troops on the ground. They're the workforce that are going to really help make this successful. So if you've got a champions network out there already, or you've got a early adopters group that are just interested in supporting this program, definitely use them. They can give you some real insight on how this is being perceived as well on the ground. And there's scenarios, not focusing on the tool, but focusing on the capabilities and the problems that it could fix for you. How does it weave into the daily activities of different roles across your organization? I always think, don't tell me that I've now got Copilot in Teams chat, for instance. Tell me what I could use it for. What's in it for me? What's in it for my role? What's in it for my team? And then thinking about training, how are people going to learn about Copilot? Um, what are the different ways you're going to provide support? So, what are the self-serve options? We've got a ton of Microsoft sites out there and workshops on how to demo the use of Copilot. So, use some of the resources that are maybe out there already, and definitely that prompting and help them, by showing them what different kinds of prompts could do and help them get to think about how they might want to engineer their prompts to get those absolute results that they're looking for. Yeah, everybody has different needs when it comes to learning. People like to learn in different ways. So, are you considering all those different options and are you giving people the access to those different resources to help them get on board? Then we move on to resistance management. Can you identify and mitigate some of those potential blockers, whether that's people blockers, skill blocks, time blocks, or something else? There will always be people that try to resist that change because they're too busy and they just don't really understand the value yet. And then think about how you're going to define and measure and monitor your success measures. Remember to take in that baseline measurement, how people working today, and then to keep re-measuring how they're progressing. How much are they using Copilot? How much are they using it across different applications? Are you seeing an increase in adoption? What are people saying that is working for them and what is not? And then recognition. Don't forget to celebrate your success. Share those good news stories. If somebody's working really well in HR with Copilot, I really want to know what they're doing. And is it something that I could maybe replicate in my own area of the business? Now, there are good news. The good news is there are many methodologies out there for adoption change management to help keep you on track. Microsoft used the ProSign methodology, which really breaks it down into five key activities. So as we go through some more top tips, we're going to take a look at each of these individual stages, and we're going to start off with awareness. The first step to consider is how are you going to communicate the need for change and how you're going to drive that awareness. Um, think about the elements of your Copilot awareness plan, including taking some time to think about who needs to be informed about Copilot, and how do they prefer to be communicated to? What are the channels that you're possibly going to use? So, for example, the way you communicate with your frontline workers might be different to how you communicate with your head office, using email or Teams or Viva Engage. What is the suitable tool for you to communicate down to some of these different groups? Perhaps you need some non-digital announcements at an upcoming meeting, for instance, as well. So key to it all, however, is ensuring that you're really clear on what the messaging is that you want to convey. Also thinking about empathy. Empathy is so important for a tool such as Copilot. A tool that may serve as a source of anxiety for the people who are concerned about the impacts that AI might be having on the business and potentially on their roles. So I think one thing that is helpful for me is thinking about, and reminding people this is Copilot, not autopilot. The product is here to work with you, not for you. So this is your personal assistant. It's not here to replace you. It's here to help you put together the best work, and help you spend time on more of your high quality tasks. So as we move on to the desire phase, this is what we call the what's in it for me. Now, we know that 64% of employees say that they don't have enough time or energy to do the job. And the primary cause of this time and energy drain are things like searching for information and navigating inefficient meetings. Now, research shows that employees are reportedly spending nearly 60% of their time and communicating and coordinating, and that just only leaves 40% of time for creation and deep thinking and collaboration. Now, they're really powerful stats that tell us that we should invest in our time to learn how to use tools like Copilot, because the tools like Copilot are going to help us fix those issues. But are showing some stats enough? Probably not, because change really requires an investment of time. And we've just said that people are saying they don't have enough time. So, how are you going to influence colleagues to prioritize this and to give Copilot a go? Well, here's some ideas. So, first of all, you could build some great personas, really help build personas that resonate with them within your organization and your industry, and really helps to create that desire. Think about how will colleagues know that they're using the tool successfully. Help them know that what success looks like, so that they don't miss out on using the tools effectively. What you don't want is them using 10% of the capability and they think, oh, well, this is okay. And actually they're missing out on some great functionality because they're only using that small percentage of the tool. So show them what success looks like. Think about what's going to motivate them to change. We know that people love to hear from their peers. So I'd be, far more interested to hear from a colleague about what their latest binge watch is. So I'm going to go and ask a colleague if you've seen anything great in Netflix or whatever streaming channel they're looking at. I'm more likely to go and watch what they've recommended than I am if I get an email or an advert that says, go and look at this. So think about how are you helping them hear from peers or people that are already using it and have been successful. Use your champions networks. Consider asking those champions to create some short videos for colleagues, sharing what they find useful. Those little micro learnings are really, really powerful. And what I would definitely say is just make it easy for them. Show them how to use the technology. As I said, in those kind of micro learners, those mini video clips, it's the quickest way to learn. If you think about how many times you get technology now and it comes with a big thick manual, you're throwing that away. I'm just going to check YouTube, see if there's a video on it if I ever need to know. So those little micro videos are perfect. Then we're going to move on to ability. How are you going to give colleagues the ability to change? You've done all the training, you've got the great skills. Now what? Well, you need to make sure they've got everything that they need for success. So have you done things like enabled Outlook? Do they know what the art of the possible looks like? As I said, make sure that they actually know what good usage of the tools look like. If they need to revisit training later because people learn at different rates, have you made this nice and easy for them? Think about providing a SharePoint site or SharePoint page for guidance, or Viva Engage community so that they can go and ask questions. Can they give feedback? So, if they've got concerns, something isn't working for them, don't let that fester. Give them a channel that they can feedback on, maybe an office hours clinic or something, or even just a form that they can fill in, but let them know that their voice is heard. And finally, if people do need help, what is the process? If it is actually broken, what you don't want is people having that license and just not using it because it didn't work, and they just presume that that is a fault with the product. The last bit here really is reinforcement. Reinforcement is key to sustaining that change. And it's no different from any other change as it is with Copilot. There are many positive ways that you can reinforce that behavior. Definitely celebrating success in like a public forum can be a great way to do this. Many folks will respond positively if you just give them a shout out. Things like rewards and recognition are also helpful. Perhaps providing some swag or access to something that they don't typically have access to, like joining a leadership lunch or something like that. Feedback, there's a couple of ways you could do that. Feedback to them individually, or or a manager if something has gone really, really well. And then the last thing here is just fostering that two-way dialogue. When users are given the chance to feed back into the change team and they see that change is having an impact, or it's actually made a difference to the way the project's deploying, they feel listened to and understood. That's going to be great for morale. So it's really motivating. So think about how you're going to reinforce that change. But whatever you do, make it easy. I realize not everybody's got access to tons of resources to drive a full adoption and change program. So what I would just say is just give them 5 things to try. Maybe one thing in each area. Provide a weekly ask me anything type check-in, and so that colleagues can share experiences with each other. And as you progress and you learn more, create those micro quick learning videos and just share them somewhere with colleagues. Even you just send one out a day in a Teams chat, that'd be awesome too. But then don't forget the resources that are out there from Microsoft. And if you've got an account team that can help you, have they got anything that is going to help accelerate your adoption and a change program? And then just make use of all these free webinars and workshops that we see either from Microsoft or through our partners. So just going to leave you with some tips. Make sure everybody is on board with the joint vision. Where I see organizations fail in this area is where there is in-house disagreement and business decision makers are all just working in silos, when actually if you're all really aligned on what the vision is, what success looks like for you in your organization, and it doesn't have to be huge success and for day one, phase success is great too, but having that agreed from the start really helps. Get key roles around the table, especially those that are in charge of things like security and privacy from day one. That's going to stop any challenges along the way. And then get people excited from all areas of the business. Ask them to help you create scenarios, get them involved, drive hackathons on the best prompts and the best results that they've got from Copilot even. But lastly, just communicate a bit more. This is a change of habit. This does need a little bit of extra help. And I've got some resources that I'm going to show in the description as well. There are a ton of things out there, and there'll be more and more added over the next few months, I'm sure. So however you're doing your adoption change for Copilot, wish you all the very best of luck. It's a fantastic tool, and I'm sure lots of people just can't wait to get started. So please do tap into those resources, and all the best of luck. Thank you.